Okay, so I'm sharing my progress and the work that I have done at llumo. The front end that you see right here is built on Next.js, and the backend is built on Node and Express. I'll start with the sign up screen and I'll show you all the flow that is down here. So let me enter this email ID and then let me enter this password. So this is a new email ID that I'll try to log in. And then all sort of validations is already here. So let's say you don't enter any password and you try to enter. So all sort of validations is there. It's a production grade code and everything is already here. So you can hide and show your passwords and all sort of stuff. Then you click on sign up, right? So this is screen, the whole state management, front end and back end for this whole login and sign up flow is alone built by me. So I built this stuff. So as we are progressing, I'll be guiding in this particular video what I have built and all the things that is here. So I have got an email on that particular email. I'm using a temp mail. So if I see here, I've got this one, right? I've got this one. And then if I see this, if I click on this, I'll be redirected to a screen with a query parameter verify and I will be verified, right? If you see right here a skip button, so sometime if you try to log in, you might not see this skip button because this is an A/B testing. So this whole flow for this A/B testing is implemented by me, the whole front end and the back end part. So if you skip this particular thing, you don't have to fill this onboarding. If you don't see this skip, so you'll have to fill this onboarding. So it is like that, right? So if I skip this button now, so my onboarding step it just gone, and then I have these things, right? I'll simply guide you with all the things that we have in here. So this is the first getting started page where you can start with a sample data or you can start with the LLM experiment with a real data, right? So the other thing that we have is this dashboard. If you see all these dashboard things that you have just signed up, I don't have anything at the moment to show you, right? In logs. So all these things that you see here, I built it using chat.js, right? The library that exists for chat in React. So for the evaluation you have in here, for cost you have in here. But as we don't have any data, but you want to see how this is going to look like in future. So you have a sample button. So all this logic that you see right here is built by me. And apart from that, you can also select some sort of dates, right? Some sort of dates right here. Uh, to see that specific range of data and all your logs from there. But let's say you want to see the sample data. So if I turn this thing on, so this is how this is going to look like. So if you see what are the things that is here, the chart, the clarity, and all those things that is here. So you can see a sample input kind of stuff, right? So insight is not here at the moment, right, for a sample. So yeah, and this is going to be a log with all sort of paginations and number of things on one page and all sort of stuff right here is delivered, right? So this is a sample for evaluation. Then you go right here for sample for cost. You see nothing, right? Because you have just signed up and you don't have anything. Then you can see how this is going to look like when you have things up. So how much you have saved. So all this UI part that you see here is built by me. All the integration, all the state management. I manage state using Redux. I manage state using context, and I also manage states using Jotai atoms, right? Global state management system. So all these three state management I use. I use Axios for API calls in the Next.js, and I also use React library. I also use React query for caching the API responses. So I'll just give you a brief idea what I am doing here. So I have implemented my own custom uh, React library right here. Sorry, I have implemented my own custom API caching mechanism right here. So what it does when you try to load this particular URL dashboard, because the data is so nested and so big and it is not going to change over the time, what I do, I cache those data into local storage using context API, and then I try to see like if that particular time frame is crossed, then I try to refetch if it is, so I'll show these things as it is, because these data that you see, it is not going to change in a real time. It happens, it builds over the time when you use the product, when you hit APIs, and it is going to build over the time. So I cache those things. So all the logic for that particular caching and how this is going to happen, when this is going to call and when this is not going to call, what will be the time frame, everything, all the logic that was developed by me, this sample dashboard data, logic and implementation was also implemented by me, right? So if you go here, so all these things that you see right here is developed by me. Then we'll go ahead with the compressor right here. So all these things that you see here on this particular screen as well was developed by me. So if I click on this generate sample, then you can see you have a variable name, rack context, query, and then you have this prompt. On these things you can select on what model you want to run, right? So you have OpenAI, Gemini, Google, and all sort of stuff that is there, and various OpenAI models as well, right? Then you can compress it, and once you compress, your input prompt is going to be compared with a compressed prompt, and then your output, this compressed prompt is going to give you in some sort of like output, augmented output, right? And this input output is somewhat like here, the output that you have. And then you can see side by side comparison of the how much cost you have saved. So initially your cost was 0.0060, and then the compressed cost is 0.004, right? All these sort of compression that happens at the Python ML server that we have, that compresses these things. But my main work is this, the front end that you see here, all these state management that you see here. And once you are done with these things, you see this, all these things are empty, right? Now, let's say there is only rag and query. What if you want to create something, some more variables? So you can simply create this var3, right? And then you can again say, okay, generate a prompt. So what is happening? So you have generated all these value. Let's say var3 is not, var3 is there, but you don't have any value in the var3, right? And you are not even using var3 here. But what if I try to use my var3? So this is the thing, the prompt block that you see here. It is not simple block, but it is a Monaco editor with suggestions. So if I simply write this double curly braces, and then I write var_3, right? var_3, because I have declared a variable, I can use this variable, right? Let's say if I can use this variable, let's say if I delete this particular variable, let's say I've deleted, but I'm using this variable, but there isn't any variable like var3. And if I try to do this, okay, it will say, okay, missing variable's name. And then if I do this, if you see, your cursor is right here, the focused is right here. But let's say if I again compress and see this var3 is missing, you can also create it right here. So if I do a create button, you see a variable named var3 is already created, and that particular variable was focused. So all this state management kind of stuff, you see how complex it is and how these things are happening and how well it is structured, the whole layouting kind of stuff, it is structured, that you can see right here, right? So let's say we don't have any. Okay, let me just copy paste this into a var3 as well, and we are using var3, and then let's try to do a compress. So you see the previous result was stacked on top of, like, the current result is stacked on top of the previous results. So all these kind of state management is very complex to handle in a live product, right? And this is what I am doing. All this state management for the loading, that you can see this typing effect you see, and this React Markdown that I'm using, that you see right here. So all these things happening. Other features, like you can copy it right here. You can see queries. So let's say what were the prompt values and all sort of stuff that was there, right? All sort of stuff that was there. You can simply click on this, and then you will be see all the values that was there will be filled here uh, initially, right? So this is the compressor that we have and the state management that you have seen, right? Let me go ahead. Okay, apart from that, you can also edit these variables names, right? Apart from deleting, you can edit these names. So I have provided these names. So all these things that you see was developed by me. And so now let's go ahead and let's explore eval lm. So this is very intuitive, and this is next level. The state management, all the complexities that you have in here, it's really a next level kind of stuff. So let me create a new playground. So if you create a new playground, you will be asked to choose a template. So you can choose whatever you want. So let's say if I want to create a chatbot, so you will be filled with some variables with some data. So let's say these are the uh, variables like context that you provide in a prompt, and if you run this particular prompt, these two values is going to be run, and you will get an output for these two variables that you do on prompt. And then you can do all sort of stuff that is there. So if you see here, we have something called MUI table, and on MUI table, I'm managing all sort of states for each one of these rows. Now to give you a brief idea how this is going to be, you can select any one row, and then you can run that, you can delete that, and you can make a clone of that, right? You can select all rows, and then you can clone all rows, you can delete all rows, you can run, and then you can close it. So this is the thing. Now, if you see here, you see one button for create column. If you click here, you will see these are the types of column that you can create, right? Or there are some features that is upcoming. So we have all sort of validations that is here. So the first one is variable. Okay, first let me run this prompt. Once I run, you see all of the cell is going in loading state. Now each one of these cell will be filled by the value that you have in this knowledge base and this user. How do I know this prompt has only these values? Let me show. If I click on this icon, this prompt column data is going to be open, and you see this is the prompt, and inside that prompt we are utilizing this knowledge base and user question, right? And apart from that, we have provider, model, and all sort of parameters. So all these things that you see is built by me, right? So this is loading. We are getting some sort of data right here. We have got data, and then if you see here, we have something like copy button. So if you want to copy this prompt, you can copy. If you want to copy this text, you can copy. Apart from that, in playground utilities, I have provided different fields. Like you can increase the cell height by small, medium, large, extra large. So let's say we do extra large. So this is going to be an extra large, right? And then again, you can make it small. Apart from that, if you want to download, you can download this whole data in JSON, Excel, and CSV. So let's say if I want to download this whole data in JSON format, and I would like to download this in download folder. And if you try to open this data, okay, so the VS Code is open right here. And then you see for this particular knowledge base, for this user question, you have this prompt, you have got your whole data in the form of JSON. And same way you can do Excel and CSV. So that is the data for types of format that you can download, right? And then you have different features like you can rename a playground, you can delete a playground, and then download I've just shown you, and the height, that is something that I've shown, right? So now let's say, what if you want to create more columns right here? So what if you want to create more columns right here? So you will simply click on this particular button. Now you have this options to create all those things. Now let's say we have variables, we have prompt, so we run those variables inside that particular prompt. Let's say we want to evaluate that particular prompt. So what we will do, we'll click on this evaluate, and then there are some KPIs that is there, right? So let's say the KPIs are like confidence, context, clarity, and there are some ragas that is also there. So let's say we want to utilize this on adaptability. We want to utilize. So for this adaptability, you see, this is the definition for the adaptability. You can obviously you can write your own definition. This is a sample definition that we provide, that I provide in that particular thing. And then based on that, you can select your evaluation model, and then you can say what is will be the evaluation criteria, what is something that you are going to evaluate based on the definition that you have set. So I'm going to evaluate this particular prompt, and then you can set rules. So if this is greater than 50, then pass, otherwise fail. Now we will see we will see what is going to happen and how this pass and fail is going to work. So if we do a create and run, so see, this was something that was critical, that was important, that you missed, and this is something, the validations that is here, right? So all sort of validations is happening. So let me write this table name with evaluation. So what is going to happen if I try to write something that is already there, that is already there. So let's see what is going to happen. So if I try to create a column name that already exists, so you see prompt is already existing. So this is not going to create you a column. So all these sort of validations is also happening right here. So we'll do some sort of evaluations here. And then based on this definition, we will evaluate this prompt and let's try to run this. So now first this will create that particular column, and once the creation is done, it is going to evaluate and show you the results. So we'll be seeing these results. So because it is not greater than 50, we see this yellow kind of stuff thing. So it has failed, right? If it is greater than 50, you would have seen a green screen. So all these color combinations that you see here, color um, color combinations based on what user has set the result is pretty amazing. Now you might have seen these two results were pretty quick, right? These two results were pretty quick, and all those results is still pending and resolving at the backend, and all of these results came in uh, at the same time. So what is happening at the backend is that in order to utilize this for a larger user base, for a greater user base, we are utilizing something called uh, Red Skull server, that is in-house server that we have developed, that is responsible for handling large user concurrent users. So what is happening here is, as we speak, all these things, all these requests is pushed into uh, Redis queue, right? And the number of requests that you have in the Redis queue is going to expand your whole system, the Vortex AI that we use at the Python level, and it is going to scale horizontally, right? Based on the number of requests you have in the request queue, in the workers, and all those sort of stuff that is happening. So you see here, we have got the results, and there are few uh, results that is pending. So we have some sort of retry management, right? So it will try to run this particular cell for 8 times, and once that 8 times fails, it will cancel that particular API permanently. Else it is going to try for at least 8 times. Now, so I've already shown you. If you click on this particular evaluation, that particular evaluation is going to open, and then you can see, right? Then you can see what were the definitions you set and all sort of stuff that you have done. Apart from this evaluation, okay, so apart from these evaluations, we have, so apart from the evaluations, I have developed other features inside this particular eval LM as well. So the evaluation that we have seen, the LLM KPI inside this evaluation that you have seen. What if you want to create your own KPIs? How you are going to do it? So I have provided another feature to create a custom custom eval data, eval KPIs. Let's say we provide some very, like, okay, you provide some random definitions, and inside that, we choose this prompt. Okay, this is going to be the thing. And then we set this rule greater than 50. And then what we do is we try to create this. So this is going to create a column, and this is going to evaluate based on our own definitions, so our own KPIs. So all those KPI you were saying were provided by Lumo. Now these KPIs that you have built is what that you have built, right? So again, if you go inside this evaluation and you try to open up this KPI, you will see your KPI that you have developed, custom eval data. So now inside this evaluation, you can use that same KPI. So you can analyze this, how complex it is, the whole state management, API integration from the front end and back end, Red Skull server, and all those things, how this is happening, and how everything that we are doing right here is executing very efficiently, right? Now, apart from custom eval, I have developed something else, something called cost saving, right? So the compressor that I show you recently, right? So we have also added that compressor here as well. So let's say inside that you can uh, add some kind of prompt, right? You can write a prompt, or let's say if you have an existing prompt, you can select that prompt as well. But let's say you want to write some prompt, you can do it without issue. Let's say if I want to select this prompt and I try to run this cost saving. So whatever prompt that exists inside this particular prompt, that will be evaluated, and that is going to tell you what cost saving that you do. And remember, we used to get four different values. So input, compressed input, output, and compressed output. So we are going to get four different columns here. So if I try to run this, so this is going to create four new columns right here. So this is compressed input, output, cost, savings, and estimated savings, and everything will be evaluated. Although this feature is particularly is under development at the moment, I've been working extensively in this. So apart from that, I would also like to show you these drop-down features. So what is going to happen here? So if you click on this, you write view and edit, you will have these things open. It is same as clicking on this, right? Apart from that, if you click on this and you write add column, so if I add a column using this instead of that button at last of the table, so what this particular thing is going to do is it is going to add a column just next to this one, right? What if I want to add a column right here? So all these features that you see here uh, is I'm managing. I can delete a column right here if I want to. So I can delete that thing as well. So let's say you have deleted these things, but you have used this in prompt, or you want to use it in prompt. So if that particular variable does not exist, it is going to show you that variable, the dependency that you are using, knowledge base, it is not present. So you can test it in live production. But this is the feature that we have in here. So although these are the things that is still in loading, the optimization kind of stuff that is going to happen as we speak, but that is those things are happening at the ML level. But here we are. Now I would like to show you something else. So let's say if you click on this column, you're going to have these options that is here, no matter where that thing is. So you can simply open right from here. And then apart from that, you can see this insights. So you don't have any insights based on the evaluation that you do. You will have some sort of insights. So you don't have that. We have already explored this. Now, not only you can create your data, but you can also upload your data as well. So if I show you right here, you can upload any files that you have, right? We take Excel and CSV at the moment. You can upload it via an API, right? If you have. So all these things that you see is built by me. You can import it from a Hugging Face. So we provide these three data sets that exist there. So let's see if I want to import from this. So I click on this, load data set, and this is going to load this particular data set from Hugging Face. Okay, I guess the API calls are okay. So we have got we haven't got any data. I've explained like these things are still under progress, so it's not released yet. But yeah, so what we can do here, we can click on upload, we can import from Hugging Face, we can click on this particular data set, sample data set, we can click on load data. This data is loaded. Now you can click on this data set information. This is going to expand. So all these things that you see here, this is going to expand. You can see what are the things that is in here, and then you can close it, and then you can select the subsets and splits, right? And then you can click on run dataset. Run dataset, what this is going to do is it is going to run that particular uh, Hugging Face dataset, and whatever data it gets, it is going to create a playground out of that, right? So all these things are happening, all those things happens at the backend, and based on that, it happens right here. So it is going to fill in all those data. You can fill those data. So all about eval lm. Then we